Hello and welcome. Today I would like to take a moment to talk about Star Wars Armada. What I don't like about it, what I do love about it, and give you a little bit more information in case you're actually interested in starting it. Now Star Wars Armada, it is a little bit similar to X-Wing, but I wouldn't put it at all close to it. A lot of people compare it to X-Wing since both of them are from Fantasy Flight Games, but the games themselves are very, very different. Star Wars X-Wing rewards small, highly aggressive play. Armada is more about the long game. Now, how Armada actually works is you have your capital ships, usually let's say about 3 or so, all of your squads, and the games are a lot slower paced than X-Wing, and that's what I actually love about it. What else I love about it is the lack of meta at the moment. You get several pretty decent lists, but at the moment, since it's still fairly young in terms of wargaming, you will find that a lot of the meta hasn't yet been created, and a lot of the ships are still very, very useful no matter which ones you go for, whether it's the Victory class Star Destroyers, or let's say Imperial class Star Destroyers, big ones, or anything the rebels have to muster. Now, how it works over there is you have your admiral, and you pretty much build an armada around him. Each admiral has unique abilities, and it is up to you to take advantage of it. Some of them are defensive, some offensive, some are support, some activate on specific turns. But what I love the most about the game is that you actually have to plan a couple of turns in advance in most cases. Let's take the Victory and the Imperial Star Destroyers, for instance. Over there, when you start the game, you already put in 3 commands, and each command is activated on the subsequent turn. So what you're actually doing is you're playing the game 3 turns in advance. You'll find smaller ships. With them, you usually play 1 command in advance. So what happens there is they are highly reactive to situations, while the larger ships of their commands take time to actually be enacted, whether you want to slow the ship down or turn it or repair it, whatever you want to do, you need to think about it in advance. So it rewards a strategic mindset. Remember, you have tactics, you have strategies. Strategies long-term, tactics short-term. X-Wing is more tactics. All the ships over there, they get instantaneous commands. Armada, not at all like that. Also, what I like about it is heroes are a lot less pronounced than X-Wing. One of my biggest beefs with X-Wing is it's just constant lists of constant heroes. The no-name guys are hardly ever worth taking, unless you're running something like Swarm, TIE Fighter Swarms. Most of the times you will not actually find the average Joe in the game. It's mostly just named characters. Same is true in Armada in terms of your admiral. You kind of have to have a named admiral, but otherwise, a lot of the times the basic guys, the basic squads are more than enough for the actual game. Now, what I don't like about it is the games take longer. On average, you're looking at between 1.5 to 2 hours per game. Very, very similar to 40k, as opposed to X-Wing, which will take you half an hour to 45 minutes. You also need a larger play surface, which I personally like, but again, it's much easier to actually just whip out a game of X-Wing and just go at it. Armada takes time to play, it takes planning to play. But having said that, it's a very, very rewarding game. I always find myself coming back to it, especially when I get bored of, let's say, 40k or Kings of War or X-Wing. Armada is always there just to add a little bit of flavor to my war games. Personally, what I would like to see developed is, like, when you look at X-Wing, you have the scum and villainy side. I would like a third side for Armada. I know a lot of people are against it at the moment because of balance, quotation, but honestly I think it would give a little bit more flavor to it. Sometimes it does get boring constantly facing, let's say you're playing Imperials or or the rebels, and you're constantly duking out with the other guy. Eventually you'll learn all the tactics, all the moves, you know what the guy's pretty much planning and wanting to do. A third side will give a little bit more flavor to it. I would like to see more ships, and I'm actually very excited about this new Korean conflict. I'm actually picking it up in a couple of days. Me and my local group have started it as a campaign, so I hope to bring you updates on it. It looks like a very, very fun way to play a game. I find Armada is also great for fluff battles, kind of recreation battles. It's more epic. It's more epic when you see those ships duking it out with little fighters, little bombers in between them. It's just something X-Wing can't compete with. I'm sorry, it can't. And these new campaigns that Fantasy Flight Games is bringing out are actually, in my opinion, brilliant, and I'm really looking forward to starting it, to giving my thoughts on it, and hopefully even get some video bat rips up for you, and we'll see how it goes. Overall though, if you are interested in Armada, I suggest get it. It is not similar to X-Wing at all. The two games, honestly, the only similarities they have is they're set in the Star Wars universe and they're set in space, and that is it. Otherwise, completely different games, completely different beasts, and they reward very different types of players and style of gaming. If you find that X-Wing is way too competitive, which it currently is, meta is crazy in there. So if you don't have the new OP lists, you go to tournaments, you're going to get smashed, you're going to get culled over there. Armada, not so. I still find my Victory Star Destroyers very, very fun to play, competitive to play. Still the first ship I have. I honestly only play Imperials at the moment. I'm looking at Rebels plus a little bit. I just don't like the way they really function. Yes, they're more reactive, they're faster hitting, but the Imperials are just, come on, Star Destroyers. As kids, we've always wanted to be a captain on a bridge of a Star Destroyer. Who hasn't? If you watch Star Wars, you've thought about it. And they're just that much more epic. But bringing me back to, like, let's say, the metagaming and ships. Some people don't like, let's say, the Victory Star Destroyer. Personally, I love it. I love pairing it up with the small ships, large ships, whatever. They're slow, they're lumbering. But you know what, they're cheap, they hit hard. Imperial Star Destroyers. People love them just because of the size, because of the hitting power, increased speed over the victories. But honestly, I find them like too large and cumbersome to use. I just prefer the small, hard-hitting, medium battleships, if you can call them that. But overall, if you are interested in Armada, I give it 10 out of 10. Awesome game. I hope it still develops further. Waiting for new waves to come out. Really excited about this Korean conflict coming out. And yeah, hopefully I'll give you my thoughts up on that shortly. Cheers. Have a good evening.